So when it comes to looking for a new Subaru 5-passenger SUV, the two that are most commonly compared are the Subaru Forester and the Subaru Outback. So we have the Forester on the left and the Outback on the right. These are both the 2021 model year. So I wanted to compare these two models to tell you the differences between the two so you can easily determine which one is the better fit for you and just overall be able to differentiate between the two Subaru models. If you guys enjoy Subaru related content, then please be sure to click the like button down below. I'd really appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. So for me, of course, I see these cars every day, so it's very easy for me to distinguish between the two just by looking at them. But some people even find, if you've maybe not been around Subarus very long, find it difficult to tell the difference. And as you can tell side by side, they are very close in size. But the Outback is actually slightly larger. So the Outback is wider and longer. It's approximately 10 inches longer and 2 inches wider. The Forester, on the other hand, is about 2 inches taller. So as you can see, the windows are much larger on the Forester than they are on the Outback. And therefore, you have a little bit more head space in the Forester, more room for your head for you and your passengers in the rear seat. And then you also have the ability to adjust your seat much higher in the Forester than you do in the Outback. So the Outback is traditionally a wagon and has the 8.7 inches of ground clearance, which the Forester has 8.7 inches of ground clearance as well. So they have the same ride height, just a little bit longer. And this is more of like a lifted station wagon, while the Forester is more of your traditional mid-size SUV. In terms of performance, the 2021 Forester only comes in a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, while the 2021 Outback comes in the 2.5 liter engine as a standard and has the option to upgrade to the 2.4 liter turbo engine. And this is commonly referred to the XT motor, or you'll see it in the Onyx, which comes standard with the XT motor. So you can get a little bit more horsepower out of the Outback in the 2.4 turbo, but you also, if you care about this, can get more towing capacity. So the towing capacity on the Outback is 2,700 pounds as a standard with that 2.5 liter engine. But if you bump it up to the turbo engine, it gives you 3,500 pounds of towing capacity. So depending on what you're towing, that could be useful. And then with the Forester, with that 2.5 liter engine, it is 1,500 pounds of towing. Now with the Outback, you have the integrated crossbars in the roof rails. Now these pull up with the tab and go across to hook into place into the corresponding holes. And so this is actually what it looks like when your aero crossbars are hooked into place, ready to use for your bike rack, your kayaks, or cargo boxes. Then when you're finished, just simply click it back in place in the park position and you're good to go. This is a little difficult to show on camera, but I'll try to display it anyways. With your seating position, you can see that the Outback sits much lower. Now you can adjust these seats up or down, but the Outback allows you to sit really far down into the body of the car. So if you're looking at it from the side, you can see the side of the seat is just barely above the side of the car that you step to get in. Now, if we compare this to the Forester, if we look at the sides, you can still adjust this seat down and up, but it doesn't go down quite as far as it does in the Outback. So this is why, in terms of the sitting position for the driver, the Forester sits more like a traditional SUV, whereas the Outback is more of a wagon and more closely related to a four-door sedan like the Legacy. Which, for those of you who don't know, the Outback and the Legacy actually are built on the same platform and share a lot of the same design characteristics. The next thing we'll compare is the infotainment. So speaking of the infotainment on the Outback, this is exactly the same as what you would find in the Legacy because they share that same platform. But you get this 11.6 inch touchscreen display, and the majority of your buttons and controls are all on the touchscreen. You only have a few analog controls here and temperature controls to adjust your climate, but you also have a full climate control down here in a touchscreen display, ability to control your heated seats, and if you have a touring in the Outback, you have the option for cooling seats as well. That is something that you don't get on the Forester. So on the Forester, you would only have the option for heated seats. No cooling seats are offered even on the touring trim. So now we're back over in the Forester. You can see the display is much smaller. This is the 6.5-inch touchscreen display, but you can get a 8-inch display in some of the other trim levels. So we're sitting in a premium trim right now. If you get a limited, the Sport has the option for the larger screen, and then the touring just comes standard with that screen that comes to the edge of this frame right here. And as you can see, you have a lot more analog controls. You also have fully analog climate controls down here. So depending on if you like the large display or the smaller one with these analog controls, that may help you really narrow down which model to go with. Both the Forester and the Outback come with the option to have the power moonroof depending on which trim level you get. And I'll show you how this looks when open. So the Outback has more of a standard size moonroof, while the Forester has a much larger opening. It has this panoramic power moonroof for you in the front and your passengers in the back to enjoy on a nice sunny day like today. So both the Forester and the Outback have the option for a power rear gate. And I'm going to show you what the size looks like on camera. So as you can see, they are very similar. The Forester has more height to it than the Outback does, and the Outback has more width, and you'll see when we fold the seats down, has a little bit more depth, so farther into the car. So fold these seats down. The Outback has these nice levers here to drop the seats. That way you can put cargo all the way back up to the driver's seat. And then this Forester in particular does not have the levers like the Outback, but if you go with a touring trim, you do get the option for, or not option, you get the standard lever there for the switches here, so you don't have to reach up and push them down like that. But this still has quite a bit of cargo space, and depending on what trim level you go with, almost always you will see these all-weather liners in the cargo tray, the rear seat back protectors, and also up in the driver's seat and passenger seat area. If you are building one out custom, it's important to know that you want to select those because they don't come standard when you are custom building that to fit exactly what you were looking for. So in conclusion, while both of these Subarus have their own unique characteristics and different design qualities, they're still both very similar. And with that, I would suggest checking one out at a local retailer and test driving both if you can, to get a good comparison to what it feels like to sit in the driver position to see the height difference, and also actually driving it to see how it feels when you're driving, and get a first-hand experience to see which one you like best. That wraps it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I make new videos just like this one every week, and I will see you guys in the next one.